Centre in Bridgetown. I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The Twin Island nation's Tourism and Investment Minister for Antigua and Barbuda is in hot water and out of a job. Asot Michael was arrested in England on Monday and subsequently lost his cabinet pick. The reason for his arrest is still unknown, but CMC understands that Michael was arrested shortly after arriving in London. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who was on his way back to the region from a trip to Europe, has since advised Governor-General Sir Rodney Williams to revoke Michael's appointment with immediate effect, pending the outcome of the matter surrounding his arrest. In a statement, Prime Minister Brown said he received news of Michael's arrest from Antigua and Barbuda's High Commissioner to London, Karen Main-Hill. He said he was not sure why the tourism minister had been detained, but committed to making that information public when he received it. Brown said that although Michael may be able to establish his innocence in time, as of now he's obliged to relieve him of all government duties on the grounds that he expects all holders of government offices to comply with the highest possible standards required of public office. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says an immediate review, Keith Rowley, he says an immediate review of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, the ODPM, will be done to address disasters in the country. His comments follow the heavy criticisms targeted at the ODPM over its response to residents who suffered loss in recent flooding. Over the last 5 days, parts of the Twin Island Republic were affected by heavy rains. Some residents described the flooding as the worst they had seen in more than 20 years. Speaking to the media while touring flooded areas in East and Southeast Trinidad, Prime Minister Rowley said, in the age of technology, the ODPM should have done better.
I know we should have within the public sector system a kickstarting that is smooth, where we get notice of incoming weather systems, and we do have structural arrangements in the government for first responders.
Dr. Rowley said we should be able to anticipate what incoming weather systems will bring to us and anticipate what the worst case scenario would be.
Repeated failure on the part of this agency, the government will take very firm action to review the ODPM and ensure that we have within the ODPM the personnel who have the attitude and the aptitude to respond to this kind of thing. We cannot in a situation where every time something happens, the issue is what the ODPM did and didn't do. I'm convinced that we do not have the correct personnel in there and that we are not prepared to respond. We had adequate notice.
And Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the floods and the response by the ODPM is testimony that more power needs to be given to local government to manage the Burgesses more effectively. While the regional corporations are the first responders, they still call on the ODPM for support.
I think the local government people as first responders have done a very good job. I mean, I've been monitoring what's been happening in the Pinal, Debe, Mayaro Corporation area, in the Tunapuna, Piaco, and in Sangagani. All the responses that have been significant have been the local government responses, as it should be, because they are on the ground. You have councillors, you have chairmen, and so on and so on. But they report to another agency, and they expect to be supported by that agency.
And the Prime Minister hinted at possible changes to the local government bodies.
These kinds of experiences drive that argument, and you would be seeing, starting with in the next few weeks to a couple of months or so, you would see local government taking responsibility for transport and cleansing within the corporation. And as we do this, we certainly have to give more responsibility to local government to ensure that they are in a better position as first responders to treat with these kinds of situations.
And that was Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley finishing that report from C News. Over in Dominica, the curfew that was implemented following the passage of Hurricane Maria will be revised to facilitate businesses that operate at nights and that used to operate at nights before the powerful Category 5 storm hit the country on September 18. During Monday morning's press briefing, at which he updated the country on several issues related to the island's recovery, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit said the curfew would be revised from what's presently 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and it will then move to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. But the update, that's the date that will that this new curfew will take effect will be announced on Tuesday. When it is in place, Skerrit has some expectations of those businesses that will benefit from the shortened curfew.
We need the cooperation and the collaboration of all stakeholders. We know that number of bars and restaurants and so forth, they make a living at night. And this is one of the reasons why we are extending or limiting the curfew hours, or extending it from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. so that the people with bars, you come from a hard day's work, you want to have a kubuli or you want to have a drink and you want to socialize with friends and reflect on the hard day's work in the sun. But we need the cooperation of the bar owners, that you absolutely should close at 10 p.m. and not have yourself open and have people out in the bars and have difficulty in getting home, and because they have to go to work next day. And you run the risk of having your patrons arrested, and then who's going to come to your bar the following night? So we need the understanding of the bar owners that you need to close absolutely at 10.
The Prime Minister also provided an update on schools, saying that 12 government-owned educational institutions have reopened, with more scheduled to open their doors next week.
We have a number of tents that we've received, and those tents will be erected on the compound of the old schools, the schools which existed prior to Hurricane Maria. So the intention is to move to have every school reopen. Today in Cabinet we will take certain decisions on the shelters and to provide some absolute temporary housing for the residents at the shelters, particularly those who are in schools, because we need to get all of our students into schools, into the classrooms, so they can continue their process of learning.
Skerrit also announced plans to sign contracts for the erection of Bailey bridges either Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. He also said he would be traveling on Tuesday with a delegation to Brussels for talks with EU officials on areas of collaboration and cooperation.
In intensive negotiations and discussions with them over the last several weeks, the European Union has been exceptional in these circumstances, as they have always been, and we look forward to their extraordinary efforts in these very difficult circumstances. So wish me luck in our negotiations, but we always remain optimistic, we always remain confident that we will get the best possible deal that can be provided.
Meantime, over in the Bahamas, which was also impacted by Hurricane Maria as well as Hurricane Irma, the island of Grand Bahama is said to be still grappling with the recovery process, but the government is working to reignite the economy. We get more in this report from ZNS Network News.
Currently, attempts are being made to resuscitate developments in Grand Bahama through the proposed purchase of hotel properties on the Lucaya Strip, but there is still concern on whether or not Grand Bahama can sustain its tourism and industrial sectors. Now, the Minister of Finance and MP for East Grand Bahama, Peter Turnquest, believes the two can coexist. He says once the right formula is achieved, it will all bode well for Grand Bahama.
Has tremendous potential on both fronts. Of course, we have a very vibrant and stable industrial sector that has continued to support the economy in Grand Bahama. But on the tourism side, we have a tremendous opportunity both in the east and the west of Grand Bahama in particular, but also in the city of Freeport, which does have cultural activities, does have tremendous golf infrastructure, beautiful beaches just like the other islands, and a very vibrant and hardworking people. So what has been absent is a consistent and sustained marketing campaign to create an identity for Grand Bahama that is consistent with the Bahamas brand but unique to Grand Bahama.
Turnquest said it's hoped that better marketing of the nation's second city can be achieved, but the touristic attributes as well as the many industrial advancement on that island, he said, must also be highlighted.
What has been absent is a consistent and sustained marketing campaign to create an identity for Grand Bahama that is consistent with the Bahamas brand, but unique to Grand Bahama, in that the offerings that we have are a little bit different than they have, say, here in Nassau or even in some of the Family Islands, where you have this mix of urban and rural infrastructure at the same time. And so we have the ability to offer guests a varied experience all in one island. And so, I think that as we go forward, whoever ends up being the owner, operators of these properties will have an obligation to broaden their marketing theme and branding of our island such that we take into account all of the assets that we have and not just focus on any one track.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the Belize Parliament gives the green light to legislation regarding marijuana use. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda.
A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art VC Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open. And we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that could happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Well, watching Hollywood devour Harvey Weinstein has been like watching a raw chicken being dropped into a pool of piranha. It's not going to be long before there's nothing left. On an almost daily basis, one woman after another is coming forward with another salacious story of Weinstein's dark and sick overtures towards them. There are sure to be many more as the floodgates are now busted wide open. But what strikes me most about this story is the hypocrisy from the Hollywood elite and the Democrat Party as they've all joined the fray in piling it on.
The Belize Parliament has given the green light for the amendment of legislation regarding marijuana use. The Dean Barrow administration in August had piloted the amendment to the legislation that also provides for monetary penalties for possession on school premises and, in specific circumstances, makes smoking on private premises no longer an offence. The Misuse of Drugs Act, which gained bipartisan support, had been referred to the Health and Human Development Committee of the House, and Prime Minister Barrow said then it was just the beginning. When the matter came up for debate, opposition leader John Brassino said his difficulty with the current legislation is that it stops at decriminalization.
I feel that it would have been better if we have done all the studies and made the preparations to go even further and move towards the legalization of marijuana. While I respect the opinion of those who are against this, I believe that there are numerous benefits to legalizing the use of marijuana in certain small quantities. In addition to the popular argument which some honorable members of the House have made, and people like Jeremy Spooners have been pushing on numerous Facebook fan pages and other compelling arguments to change the way we think about marijuana. For example, studies have proven that adults who smoke weed lose weight. They could keep in a better shape. They have a smaller waist size. They are better insulated insulin levels. I don't answer names right when it's named slim and trim and fit.
Foreign Affairs Minister Wilfred Arlington told the debate that the euphoria induced by marijuana is false, but that the bill does not offer true relief.
That its main effect really is to induce a false and unrealistic sense of contentment. In other words, people who smoke it seem to feel contented, and people who are contented don't normally give problem. You know, so I've also too empathize completely and totally with the view expressed by the minister the member from Freetown, because really and truly this has been a piece of legislation that has been very oppressive, really to the poor people. The record seems to suggest that the consumption of marijuana, the addiction, it really is a medical problem. And in this modern day and age, we know that when people have this kind of maladies, you don't punish them more. You try to furnish them with provision for overcoming it.
Over to Jamaica, where the Chief Executive Officer of the Firearms Licensing Authority, Shane Dalling, says the agency is embarking on a new drive to get gun owners to regularize their status. He says the FLA is working with the police on the initiative. Dalling says the authority is doing a house check on delinquent license holders. He disclosed that during a gun amnesty in August, more than 1,200 gun owners came forward, many of whom had not renewed their gun permits for up to 10 years. Dalling added that the FLA collected more than $28 million from the amnesty.
We have found that many of these persons in the Kingston and St. Andrew area are dead. And we are now retrieving the firearms from the homes. There are very few we found are overseas. And so the drive continues. And we are going, I have spoken with the Commissioner of Police, and we are now going island-wide as it relates to recovering those that are still out there.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, when these women sweep their 3-match T20 International Series against Sri Lanka. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Be strong, Caribbean Strong. The relief concert and telethon, Caribbean Strong. Sunday, October 29th, Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, the Caribbean's biggest stars.
When we get together this time, our voices will be heard and will lift all spirits to be Caribbean Strong.
I'm here to encourage you to be the best.
The United Artists of the Caribbean, Machelle Montano, Shaggy, Tian Winter, Vegas, Ricardo Drew, Conscience, and many more.
Barbuda did not stand the faintest chance against such size, such ferocity, and such intensity. There is now no permanent resident on Barbuda.
Hey, be brave, I know it's just a test. Yeah, yeah.
Caribbean Strong, the relief concert.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E-Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9711 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Right-hander Deandra Doughton belted an astonishing 100 as West Indies women trounced Sri Lanka women by 31 runs to sweep the three-match T20 International Series Sunday night. Playing at Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua, the 26-year-old carved out 112 of 67 deliveries as the hosts chalked off 159 for 6 off their 20 overs after choosing to bat first. Doughton smashed 9 fours and 5 sixes en route to becoming the first female player to score 2 T20 International hundreds in a career. She also got support from Hayley Matthews, who chipped in with 34 from 40 balls at the top of the order.
Lovely sweep shot. Again, just finding the gap, just knowing exactly where the field was. I think that one was Hayley Matthews. But again, Deandra Doughton getting back. Short delivery, low center of gravity for her, and she pounced on anything that was short.
She did. She really hit that mid-wicket region on a numerous occasion, and then she started to hit sixes. That one really was traveling, and she was on fire. She tugged that one again into the mid-wicket region. No chance for the fielder, who was close, and then she got this opportunity. Should have been taken. It was an easy catch put down by the Sri Lankan number 97 in Kanchana, and that was a costly miss because Deandra Doughton continued with her 6 hitting. She hit that one over the long off region and then towered one over the mid-wicket region once more into the jubilant fans on that western side. This was the run out of Hayley Matthews, wanting a single, but Doughton was just puffing for some breath after being on the go. Knight came in and immediately joined the party, picking up a boundary, swinging this one through the backward square position and getting into the action right away. Doughton continued. This was a flat 6, just carried over that mid-wicket region, showing the kind of power that she was demonstrating this evening.
Yeah, full boundary. The 75-yard boundaries here this evening, not small boundaries at all. And there she is, getting to 100. A well-played 100, scored off 62 deliveries. And she really enjoyed herself, and she took the wind and took the sail out of the Sri Lankan bowlers.
In reply, Sri Lanka women were held to 128 for 5 off their 20 overs, despite half-centuries from wicketkeeper Rebecca Vatu, that's Van Dort, and Shahikala Siradnan. Matthews returned with her off-spin to claim 4 for 18 from her 4 overs.
Themselves. By this time, it was a monumental task for them to win the game, but still showing commitment at the end. That
catch there
by Mohammed had to give the effort, and could have probably just allowed it to fall, but she wanted to show that she was still committed all the way to the end, and picking up a very good catch on that occasion. The Sri Lankans got to personal milestone. Van Dort and Siradina both getting half-century. This one was when Van Dort got to her 50. She was pretty pleased about it and was happy with her effort this evening. You would have wanted her to bat on to the end, but then she tried another reverse sweep, got her stumps knocked down, and that was the end of her. And the Sri Lankans ending on 128 for 5 in response to the Windies 158 for 6.
The wind ensured West Indies swept the entire series after their 3-0 whitewash in the ICC Women's Championship ODIs in Trinidad a fortnight ago. Meanwhile, Roston Chase was within touching distance of a 4th Test 100, and West Indies carved out a lead in excess of 400 runs to increase their stranglehold on the opening test against Zimbabwe on the 3rd day at Queen's Sports Club and that happened on Monday. The right-hander was unbeaten on 91 at the close, leading a resilient batting display from the Caribbean side that saw them to 369 for 8, a lead of already 429 runs heading into Tuesday's penultimate day. Opener Craig Brathwaite buttressed the Windies' effort by fashioning his 14th Test half-century with a battling 86, while the classy Shea Hope and tail-ender Devendra Bishu both scored 44 and Kyle Hope 43. Leg spinner Graham once again led the attack with 3 for 111, while seamer Kyle Jarvis and Sean Williams both ended with 2 wickets apiece. Here's the tail end of the highlights between the West Indies and Zimbabwe.
Hi, Raz. Hi, come.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sure. Still have some stuff in demo stages, but focusing on the dip right now because it did well in crop over, but it took off right after crop over. It make a spin and just started to do some new things. So I'm a type of artist that like to put a lot of promotion budget wise behind a record and help it. So that's why I'm working with the dip now and try to get it where it's supposed to be.
Again, the major developments of this day: Antigua and Barbuda's Tourism Minister Asad Michael arrested in London and fired from the Gaston Brown cabinet. And in sport, Windies women sweep their 3-match T20 international series against Sri Lanka. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to karnanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.